Kelsey Formost is the head of marketing at Togal.AI, an award-winning construction tech company using AI to revolutionize pre-construction estimating. A recognized marketing expert and copywriting thought leader, she's spoken at some of the world's top marketing conferences, like South by Southwest and HubSpot's Inbound. And her work has been featured in Ad Age, Business Insider, and Today. Kelsey is known for her entertainment-first approach to brand storytelling, blending marketing strategy, human psychology, and her background in Hollywood to help brands and the people behind them. Tell me who Kelsey is as a college student. What was the degree you wanted to choose, and what sort of vision did you have for yourself?
So funny. So I'll actually go back a little bit further because I was a theater nerd. I was a total theater nerd growing up, and I was also an entrepreneur at heart. I had lemonade stands that were famous for absolutely killing it because what I would do is I would sell baked goods to get people wanting the lemonade, and then I would upcharge for the lemonade. And it was like I was
That's
a little
awesome.
8-year-old mogul, right? But I always loved being creative, making things, constantly, and I found my way into theater, when I was a kid and really, really loved it. Decided to pursue it as a career, and I got a full scholarship to Davidson College in North Carolina, where there was a residency with the Royal Shakespeare Company. And when I say theater nerd,
Wow.
I mean it. And so after college, graduated, moved to New York City and did some Broadway, some off-Broadway stuff and musical theater. And while in New York, found my way in with an improv slash sketch comedy group called College Humor, which if you're a millennial, you might remember. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I remember them.
okay,
They were
great.
they were they were like one of the first people on like YouTube and stuff.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. So very early in my career, I really understood the power of YouTube, the power of attention, and the power of humor. And I think that really has carried me into marketing more than any, like, boring online course about marketing
Mm,
ever could. When you are on those sets and you're trying different lines to get the laugh, or you're seeing if the structure is gonna hold attention, nothing is a better educator than trying to write a funny sketch.
brilliant. That's such a unique perspective because usually people who are in the cinematic industry, it's a very different discipline than having that analytical mindset for entrepreneurship.
Totally.
So early on in your career, and even when, the tech industry really wasn't as booming as it is today, to have that, to build up both of those disciplines really probably gave you a good uniqueness factor and a uniqueness edge to enter the industry.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely. So back in like 2016, so I was full-time actor screenwriter for about 10 years. Was successful. I was on Modern Family, I was on New Girl, and a movie with Zac Efron. Like on paper was successful, but it just wasn't quite cutting it for me as far as like challenging me in a career. And I wanted a little bit more stability and I wanted more creative control. And I found my way to this job at Omnia Media, which was a digital marketing agency that specialized in blogs and YouTube. And we did all of these um, shows. But again, 2016, like not a lot of people were really doing this. And it was a very interesting education in SEO driven by video. And like all the lights went off where I was like, oh, this is amazing. I have creative control, but I still get to use all of the fun, like elements of what I loved about entertainment and about being an actor. And I also realized that screenwriting and copywriting really meshed well. If you can write a good script, you can write good copy. So I transitioned full time into digital marketing. I worked in the influencer marketing space for a SaaS platform called Tagger that got acquired by Sprout Social a few years back. And now I'm at another SaaS platform, Togal. And I love what Togal is doing in the world. But I think what's so interesting to me as a marketer is the challenge of how do you make B2B SaaS the most snooze fest, boring industry usually not just, you know, get attention. Like anybody can run an SEO campaign, anybody can run paid ads on Google. But
Right.
if you can make it entertaining and memorable, that is a really fun nut to crack.
Super interesting. Yeah. And there's a saying out there that sometimes science is more art than science.
Yeah.
And yeah, like people think like, oh, like I don't want to become a web developer. It's so technical and nerdy. And it's like, if you have a creative mind, it gives you such a great edge in such a
Hmm.
great industry. And yeah, I think you're using your creative side and to enter the digital marketing industry. And yeah, SEO could be a little technical, but it's also about being creative and
Yeah.
leveraging just creative ideas to give yourself an edge online. So even like, okay, now even extrapolating forward, your industry is so different than digital marketing. How did you get into
Construction
the
industry.
pre-construction estimating? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So after being at a B2B SaaS platform that was all about influencer marketing, so Tagger, my previous job, was a platform for brands to find influencers that they may not have found otherwise to make content for them.
Was it
And
like, sorry, was it like just
yeah,
connecting influencers with people looking to do marketing? Was it like, what's it called? Outreach Ninja? There was some service online that had like a database of influencers
right.
and you would,
So Tagger was really interesting and unique in that what they did was they actually had partnerships with the major social media platforms first, and they had aggregated profiles of a creator. So if a creator was on multiple platforms, they would have one profile on Tagger that would show the brand like, hey, yeah, this person has Instagram followers, but their YouTube actually might be a really interesting way to like up your game. And so it was a discovery
mm,
platform, and it was a almost like a analytics where it could allow brands to make better decisions. And it did all the things like you could reach out to creators, you could send contracts, you could keep all of your messages on platform, but it
mm,
was not a marketplace. So it wasn't somewhere that like I don't know, we'll just plug in a brand. Target would say, like, hey, we're looking for creators for our Christmas campaign. It wasn't that. It was Target would come and say, okay, I'm looking for this really specific type of influencer for this really specific campaign. And they would use almost like a search engine to find them. So it was very B2B, but it was in that sort of YouTube digital marketing influencer world, and what I found to be the most interesting part about it actually wasn't the YouTube influencer stuff. It was the B2B SaaS part. Because
mm.
it was like, how do you, when you're appealing to these brands, you're appealing to these major multi-million dollar companies, how do you help them make a good investment decision and convince them that it's not just about the numbers, it's actually about being entertaining?
Yeah. Interesting. Now you're in the pre-construction industry.
Yes.
I'm curious, what were one of the most important lessons you've taken along? You've just mentioned a bit of the B2B stuff, but
Hmm.
these are very different industries. I wonder if you've like
Totally.
taken some of the stuff you've learned from
Yep.
one completely separate industry and kind of applied it to this one. And tell me a little bit more about what specifically you're doing with Togal.AI.
Yeah. The lesson is that the simpler, the better, no matter what.
Mm,
Whenever it's a marketing campaign, the simpler, the better. The more you can, and I hate this phrase, but it's just what comes to mind. The more that you can dumb it down, the more that you can make it easy and fast for someone to understand what you're talking about, the better it is for everybody. And it's
right.
also the hardest thing to do. Anybody could write
Yeah.
a
That
one
makes
pager, but in this day and age, nobody's going to read it.
Yeah, and
It's
and the currency is people's time and attention. People are willing to give you
exactly.
very little time. There's so much content out there, and
There's
like 99% of things is just noise. So
Mhm.
being able to say, "Hey, I'm worth your time and attention," is
Yeah,
challenging.
exactly. And for the answer to the question of why Togal, personally, I find the housing crisis in America to be quite alarming. And what Togal is doing, just for anybody who doesn't know the construction industry, The pre-construction process takes the longest and is the most expensive by like billions and billions of dollars. It takes years before you ever break ground on a housing project or a hotel or a condo, whatever it is. It takes so much freaking time. And what Togal does, to put it in the simplest terms possible, is it takes care of all of the manual tasks that used to take construction companies days, if not weeks, if not months, to figure out by looking at construction plans before they could make a bid. So, our AI, this is so cool. You upload your plans, and the AI scans all of your plans, and it can tell you any information that you need to know. How many toilets are in this condo building? How many parking spaces? How many square feet of paint am I going to need? How much tile am I going to need? And it can help you in seconds understand how much a project is going to cost so that you can get that bid out the door and eliminate all of that manual clicking, counting,
Mm,
mundane BS that nobody likes to do. So to me, it's a very tangible result from a digital
right.
technology product, which is so cool to me.
How long have you been building this company for?
So I personally have been with Togal for 2 years, but the company was really launched out into the world in, I want to say 2021, 22.
The technical capabilities and
Mhm.
reliability of AI
Yeah.
is just surging at an exponential rate. I guess at the time of founding, were
Hmm.
they confident enough at the time with the technology saying, hey, this is going to give us reliable results? And
It's a
what
great
are the
question.
current technical bottlenecks that you're facing? And, how will solving those act as a catalyst for the company to do a whole lot more with AI?
That's a great question. So you're correct. At the time of founding, AI was not a thing. I mean, barely.
Right.
And our founder, Patrick Murphy, came from a construction background. His family owns a very large construction company in Miami, Coastal Construction. And he saw firsthand the problems that these companies were facing, these estimators were facing. And he also, funny enough, was a former congressman who was very interested in moving like actual production of housing forward. And he kind of had he has an amazing ability to connect dots with people, and he found talent. And he said, what if we could build a technology that could do all of these very real mundane problems with artificial intelligence? And they spent about 2 years building it. And
Mm,
the thing that makes it so interesting is that it is a proprietary AI tool. It is not a wrapper on something else, which,
right.
let's face it, a lot of stuff is these days. And they trained it on actual construction plans. So it's almost like the tool, it has a background in construction because that's
Right.
all it ever learned on was construction plans. They got it to a place where it was 98% accurate, and then they took it to market.
Mm,
So, I think that answers the first part of your
yeah.
question. And as far as technical bottlenecks right now, I am not the CTO. However, what I can report is that technology, especially in AI, is just moving at such a breakneck speed that it's like as soon as we build something, we're on to the next thing immediately. It's not that it becomes obsolete, but it just is like, oh my gosh, there's something else really cool that we could be doing. I would almost call it like we have to be very good decision makers when it comes to investing time in building new features.
Yeah. Yeah. Great answer. So here's the thing about the first LLM. We always thought if we were to have this conversation 5, 10 years ago about artificial intelligence, it would sound like it'll be this thing you'd make in a lab where
Yeah.
scientists would poke around with it. And interestingly enough, how it played out was the first model was literally thrown into the wild. And it's like, here, guys, have at it. Ask it whatever
Mhm.
you like,
Yeah.
which is a really interesting turn of events. And if we were to have this conversation 10 years ago about what kind of things would AI be good at, you might say, oh, diagnosing illness. The last thing we'd probably agree on is it would overtake the field of arts, the things that make humans unique. And interestingly enough, it's doing really well in those industries. It's
Mhm.
humbling us in a sense. It's making us realize that we might all be super unique, but perhaps we're just a few bytes away from being replaced. And the music is amazing. The art it's doing is truly beautiful. And it kind of puts you in this duality where, marketing, for example, is all about being approachable, creating a personal touch with people. But then you have this PhD level student that's able to do some really good work. So my question to you is, how do you deal with that duality where someone with your background in marketing, but someone who's seeing the pure awesomeness of AI,
Yeah,
how do you deal with that dichotomy of, hey, this is something technical that's useful, but at the same time, what makes marketing so valuable is that personal and human touch?
totally. I love this question. I just read a study today from MIT. It's called the iceberg effect. I might be misquoting that, but the term, it might be not be the title, but the term that they came up with was the iceberg effect. And what they found, as in the tip of the iceberg, it was a study
Yeah.
on AI and jobs. And what they found was surprising, maybe, that 11.7% of current American jobs are already made obsolete by artificial intelligence.
Yes, I actually read that.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So when they the things that was the thing that's really interesting to me about this is that the most vulnerable or obsolete types of jobs are information processing jobs or information like have an input and an output.
Systematic, delegatable, patternizable work.
Yes. Most vulnerable. But the most valuable human jobs now are strategy. And so when you talk about that duality, to me, it's like, thank God I get to focus on strategy because, yes, you can input your idea into the AI being, machine, however you want to call it, into the model, and it will have an output. But you have to have the idea in the first place. You have to have the idea in the first place. And then you have to be discerning enough to know, is it good? Is it good enough? Does it fit my strategy? Will it, if I'm speaking specifically about marketing, will it resonate with the people that I want it to resonate with? And it actually makes human discernment a lot more valuable because as we know and as we're seeing, yeah, there's a lot more output from AI, but a lot more output doesn't mean a lot more good output. We have
Yeah.
to discern, is it good enough to fit our strategy? So that's kind of where I'm at the moment with it.
Yeah, that is a lifeboat for all of us to kind of jump on. I wonder how long that will be the case, where strategy will be our safe haven. It's moving fast.
It is moving fast, but something that really gives me a lot of peace is thinking about giant technological developments before us. Like, can you imagine showing someone from like 1910 a fax machine? They'd be like, "What on earth? What? This is
Yeah.
like witchcraft." And
Yeah.
then now, if someone has a fax machine, we're like, "Oh my God, like, who has a fax machine?" So we take email for granted. We take GPS for granted. I put freaking Trader Joe's. I know exactly where
Yeah.
Trader Joe's is, but out of habit, I put it in on my GPS every time I get in my car. There are things that we take for granted now that help us in our lives that are technological. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be the same. And the fear isn't fear of AI, it's fear of change. If you're not afraid of
True.
change, I think you'll be okay.
There's one variable I would love to add to that,
Yeah.
and that's the variable of acceleration.
Mm,
So it's the rate of change that
true.
is having some people a little at ease. You're right. I mean, it's like if you look at the timeline for the iPhone, I think that's just a great way to put things in
Mm.
perspective. 17, we're going about 18 years now from the iPhone when it was first was
God, I feel
the
old.
iPod. It was the coolest thing ever. You're able to put music on it, and you had this thing where you spun and you put earphones in, and like you're able to put like thousands or hundreds of songs on your iPhone.
Yeah.
And 17 years within the human timeline is not even a blip. It's not even a drop in the bucket.
What's up?
And now your iPhone does everything, and it could play music if you really wanted to, right?
Mhm.
And that is how technology works. Like it has this rate of growth defined by Moore's law. But I think like these new developments are superseding that exponentially. And I think our predictive power is fleeting because we're not talking 17 years now. Now it's like, like 17 years ago, we were talking about AI. It was the same bin as flying cars and traveling to Mars, right?
Mhm.
And now it's like every week there's a new update, and you're like, God damn it! How are my competitors leveraging this? Because this is moving so fast.
Sure.
So we're at 12% today, but perhaps I have a slightly more dystopian view than the average person.
Well, I also think I'm very optimistic, glass half full,
Yes, this is
sunshine.
why this is a
I
good
think we can
conversation.
acknowledge that. Um, and I get this is so Pollyanna of me, but the first thing that comes to mind when you say that is we don't even know what kinds of jobs are going to be created.
Right.
Like there are going to be new jobs.
We
Yeah.
need more of your good spirit here because
Aw,
yeah, I
shucks.
mean, yeah, but it's all truly fascinating stuff, and your journey from theater to marketing to the construction industry is a wild one.
Sure
And
is.
it we're talking about those who feel most threatened by AI, and someone with a uniqueness factor like yourself who has such unique perspectives in various disciplines probably gives you some good competitive edge.
Well, and if anybody listening was a theater major or has a kid who wants to be a theater major, like let me be living proof. You you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Um, like if I had been squashed and if I had not been allowed or encouraged to follow a more creative artistic path, then I wouldn't be here. Like I would who knows where I
Right.
would be.
Right.
And I think that that's, again, I know it's very Pollyanna-y, but the best defense we have against the machines is our humanity and the thing that makes us our own unique person. And me being a nerdy theater kid made me a unique person who now is able to use AI to, I think, help the world be a little easier and better.
Yeah. And just from talking to you for a good 25 minutes here, I would say that you are an absolutely superb communicator.
Oh,
So,
shucks. Thank you.
and I'm sure you've gotten that before, but yeah, you're very clear, and you're just a great communicator. So
Thank you.
it's hard to miss that. Uh, how can people get in touch with you?
They can find me on Instagram. That's the social media platform I'm on the most at Kelsey.Writes, Writes. Find me on LinkedIn, Kelsey Formost, or my website, kelseyformost.com.
Thank you for your time, Kelsey.
Thank you so much, Michael. This was great.